Let's get straight to it. There's a growing trend in the manifestation world where people decide that their next great spiritual project is to manifest a specific person, not a type, not a feeling, not a dynamic, but a particular individual. Now it starts innocently enough. You see someone who lights up your brain chemistry in just the right way, and because you understand manifestation, and because you know you're a powerful creator, the thought emerges, I can have them. You dive into visualization, scripting, mental conversations, even affirmations, with their name included. You build a relationship in your mind where everything flows and feels just right. But what you're really doing without realizing it is creating a version of this person that may have no resemblance to who they truly are. You're manifesting a projection, a carefully edited mental character that fits your emotional needs without the unpredictable depth of your full expression within the reality. And here's where the process starts to unravel. Your outer world reflects your inner work. They show up. You date, you feel powerful, but soon something doesn't quite match the script. They speak or behave in ways you don't foresee. They show traits, opinions, or emotional patterns that weren't part of the narrative that you built into your imagination. A relationship, while technically manifested, doesn't satisfy the emotional experience that you were aiming for. Why? Because you weren't working from the depth of self-awareness. You were trying to shape an external form to fit an inner ache. You created a character and a version of them that showed up didn't conform to the story. Not because they're out of alignment, but because consciousness can only reflect what you are, not what you pretend to be for the sake of a fantasy. This is where some get stuck. They double down. They keep trying to shift the person, revise scenes, increase our focus. But unless there's true inner coherence, unless the qualities you seek are alive within you, the external reflection will be or feel unstable or misaligned. Not because the person has free will to resist your vision, but because consciousness mirrors your state, not your wish list. So the question becomes, are you constructing reality from your aligned self or from your longing? Are you operating from your saturation, or are you still creating from the void? If your internal story is one of lack, what appears may take the form you desire, but carry the texture of disconnection. This isn't failure, it's precision. Consciousness never gets it wrong. It shows you who you're being.
Paul's absolutely right, and it's something not enough people say dreamily. Manifesting love isn't about bending another human being into your dream shape. It's about opening up to the kind of connection that already fits who you've become. That starts with one critical shift. Stop manifesting people and start manifesting qualities. This is where it gets interesting, because if you truly spend time getting to know someone with their humor, their flaws, their triggers, their values, then manifesting a relationship with them makes sense. You're not manifesting a fantasy, you're aligning with a person you've observed and accepted in their fullness. And when you're working from limited information, a few flirty moments, some shared interest on social media, you get a better angle, you're building a temple on sand. You're projecting compatibility onto a stranger. When you obtain access to that person, the illusion will eventually crack over time. Because what you're trying to sustain isn't a relationship, it's a performance for both of you. You don't need to do that. Consciousness isn't limited to just one face. In fact, it's teeming with possibilities, far more resonant than your current fixation. But to receive those, you have to let go of chasing specific people and start getting brutally honest about what it is you want to feel. Do you want emotional safety, a deep sense of human compatibility, intellectual connection, shared pace of life, a relationship where you don't have to shrink or explain yourself? Then manifest that. Visualize the feeling of being seen without needing to perform. Affirm the presence of someone who matches your values. Meditate on the energy of mutual respect and joy. And here's the paradox. When you focus on qualities, you begin to notice people who naturally embody them, not because you forced it, but because you finally got out of the way. You don't need to script a version of someone. You need to become the clearest signal for the type of love you want. That means becoming emotionally available, honest with yourself, and grounded in your own values. You will attract what you are aligned with, not what you obsess over.
And that brings us to the inner game, the part that no vision board can substitute for. If you want someone who is whole, emotionally generous, and grounded, then that must also become your default setting. Because if you're trying to manifest a specific person from a place of emptiness or lack, all you're really doing is handling the job of filling a void that they didn't create. That's a setup for disappointment. People often don't realize they're using manifestation to bypass emotional development. They think if they just get the person, everything will stabilize inside. But the inner dissonance doesn't disappear with their presence. It amplifies. Because now you're not only carrying your unmet needs, you're also tangled in the frustration of why the fantasy doesn't feel fulfilling. So the smarter path, start cultivating what you desire in yourself. If you're longing for depth, build it within. If you want emotional intelligence, practice it. If you're tired of inconsistency, become consistent in how you show up for yourself and others. And this isn't about being worthy enough for love. It's about being energetically aligned with the kind of partnership that can thrive. When you do that, you stop chasing. You stop trying to prove. You start receiving because you shifted from wanting someone to complete you to inviting someone to join you.
And that's the turning point. Because when you stop micromanaging the whole, and the who, and start embodying the what, everything changes. You expand, you release tunnel vision. Suddenly people who you've never noticed start becoming visible. You're no longer filtering your awareness through one person's face. You're open to what resonates. The irony is that when you do this, the person you thought you wanted might still show up. But this time they're drawn to the version of you that isn't grasping or waiting. Or they won't show up, and someone even more compatible will. Either way, it's not a loss, it's liberation. Though, if you're deep in specific person manifestation, consider this your invitation to zoom out. Reconnect with the essence of what love means to you. Not the fantasy, not the performance, the real thing. The quiet safety, the inspired growth, the mutual joy. That's the love worth calling in. And that's the love that calls you forwards, not into a love of fantasy, but into the most powerful version of yourself.
If this gave you something to reflect on, whether it confirmed what you already knew or nudged you into looking at things differently, feel free to pass it along. Someone else might be sitting with the same questions right now. And if you've been following these conversations and want to stay connected as we keep exploring his work, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the bell if you'd rather be notified than stumble across it later. And if this landed with you, liking the video helps signal that this is the kind of content that matters. We appreciate you being here. Until next time, think differently. Think differently, dream boldly, and create conscious. I'm a quiet rebel.
I don't need a shower.